Dice are a very interesting thing for tabletop roleplay games in general, but it doesn't just have to be dice. The whole aspect of RNG helping control a storytelling environment is fascinating. In fact, it's really what makes TTRPGs tabletop roleplay games, if you think about it. What's stopping a tabletop game from being anything like the pretend games that we used to play as kids? The ones where we'd make up things on the fly, pretend to make these stories, and pretend to be characters. On the surface, those are the exact same as the tabletop roleplay games we play. The largest difference, however, is the mediator in the form of the game master, as well as the dice. Or it doesn't even have to be dice if you think about it. There are a lot of tabletop games out there that use things like cards or any other RNG factor to create the story at the table. But why do we need that randomness? What is important about that? Why does it make the game what it is? Well, that's what I wanted to discuss today. See, there's one thing that are really important about RNG games, and that is, well, the crits. See, in a TTRPG game, there's almost always a critical hit mechanic. And it doesn't necessarily have to be a hit, just a critical success. Whether it's something like Monster of the Week, where all you have to do is roll above a 12, or it's something like Pathfinder, where you just simply have to be able to roll a certain amount over the original DC. Or in Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition, where all you have to do is roll a 20.
Natural 20.
Or if you're using specific subclasses, then all you have to do is roll a 19 or 20. The point is, critical successes are a very important part of pretty much any game that you play, but then you have to ask yourself, why? What's the importance of it? Why is it so prevalent that so many different games use it? Well, it's because, in my humble opinion, they really make tabletop games what they are because they're the ultimate form of randomness. They truly encompass everything within the game and make it clear why we're playing it. Let me explain. How many times have you told a story from your games? Or you've been discussing with somebody else and they've told you a story from their games where they discuss a natural 20, a crit, if you will, a critical success that really defined this incredible story that they were trying to tell and made the entire game feel special to them. That session was made entirely different and so much more uniquely fascinating strictly because of that critical success or a critical failure. How many times have we heard stories about somebody trying to do something ridiculous and they roll a natural 1, making it actually utterly absurd? A great example of that is the time that Ford rolled way too many natural 1s in his session, leading to one of the most iconically funny moments of the campaign.
But that is not necessary.
No, it's all right. Let me try it on my own first, for dignity's sake.
Go ahead and make a dexterity check with disadvantage, please.
Oh, I didn't need that disadvantage. That's a natural 1.
You lob it here.
You should have let me and Yasha pick you up.
No, I've got this. Resituate. A little bit of a glance.
All right, try again.
That's another natural 1.
Again and again.
I can't believe I'm about to say this, but let's give it a try.
Okay, Yasha, you get on one side, I'll get on the other.
That's fine. That's
All right, so that's, we got one more throw.
That's what I mean. They're gonna
All right,
help me.
which one of you is taking the other throw?
Oh, no, we're going to pick Ford up the way that you did the little child.
Perfect. There you go.
Yeah.
2 shit throws in a row. Can't get any fucking worse.
All right, so.
Oh.
Yes! Yes! Yes!
No!
No!
Yes!
That's ridiculous!
The point is, it's incredibly fascinating to look at how critical successes and failures really make up, well, basically the whole game. But what about them is so special? To me, it's the fact that they really do all-encompassingly and incredibly show what tabletop games are. They lead not only to that randomness being there, that randomness allowing to shape the game in front of you so that it is something that even the dungeon master cannot predict, but also because they show the furthest extent, they create hope. Now, I know that seems incredibly weird. How do they create that hope? What exactly does that mean? Well, think about it this way. Even in the most dire of circumstances, there's the chance of a critical success. Even if you're using a tabletop game that uses decks of cards as your RNG mechanic, there's the hope that you draw the card that's going to create that critical success, the ability to rise above the odds. A natural 20, a critical success, is the definition of hope when you're playing these games, because no matter the odds against you, there's a chance. There is a chance for you to overcome the odds and truly overcome what's in front of you, meaning you can always be the hero. But at the same time, critical failures are also an importantly crucial part of this. They are the opposite end of the spectrum, showing that no matter what's going on, failure is around every corner. The RNG, the randomness of it, creates a feeling of genuine connection around the table because all of us truly believe that we are making a story that none of us know what happens next, not even the game master, because there's always a chance of something. But now this leads to, why am I talking about critical successes and failures? What exactly am I trying to imply? Because with all the information that I've given, it's something we all know inherently. At least at some point within us, we understand why crits are important to the game. So what truly is there to explore about them? Well, I think there is more to them than meets the eye because they are the perfect chance to emphasize the incredible story that we're making at our table. Now, when talking about natural 20s or natural 1s, crits in general, you're going to want to make sure that the RNG system that you're using is well balanced and well taken care of. Most of the time, it's with dice. Which brings us to the sponsor of today's video, Only Crits Dice. Today's video sponsor is a name that longtime viewers of my channel will know well, Only Crits. Now, Only Crits is an incredibly amazing dice company. They have awesome sharp edge dice sets as well as a variety of unique different designs for a ton of different dice. They have been supporting my channel for pretty much as long as it's existed, and I've been using Only Crits dice as long as I've heard of them. I've never once had a single complaint about them, and they've been so incredibly kind and very, very flexible with my channel, and I really want to return the favor. Seriously, a lot of the ways that you could support my channel is by supporting those who want to be able to work with me, and going and giving them the same sort of kindness that they've given me would mean the absolute world to me and is so helpful for all parties involved. Right now, it's a pretty difficult space for TTRPG companies, so being able to support those who are trying to support their own businesses is fantastic, and I would very much appreciate it if you all would go give them the love and kindness that they deserve. Anyways, back to the video. I was running a session the other day in which I nearly killed 3 of the player characters, and this took a huge toll on me. Despite how much I like to jab and tease my players about the dangerous situations I put them in, I have no desire to kill their player characters. But I understand that the stakes are an incredibly crucial part of the entire story. If I am unwilling to kill them, then there really is no point in investing in the danger that might be there. That is what we as a group have decided. And if you as a group don't believe that, that is totally okay, but it's what we truly believe. And so when looking at that, I have to add that moment of danger. And the natural 1s and the natural 20s in that last battle were incredibly important. At one point, the monsters crit one of the characters, and it made it super clear that death was imminent. They dealt a ton of damage very early on, and it shaped the rest of the combat. This simple roll, a simple 20 on a D20, showed suddenly that this battle was going to go differently. Meanwhile, there were many points throughout that entire battle where they would roll a crit that really meant something. It actually saved their butts several times, rolling a 20 on a saving throw that they otherwise would not have been able to succeed. This was a moment of them rising above the odds, and funnily enough, that actually ended up leading to one of the characters not dying, which ended up leading to none of them dying because they were able to heal and take care of each other. On that same vein, one of them, the druid, the person who was able to actually revivify somebody and make sure that none of the player characters died, would have gone down and been killed had I not rolled a natural 1 on an attack right before his turn. The point is, those crits defined things that even I, as the game master, could not have possibly predicted. Critical successes and failures are crucial to the game because they give a moment of sacrifice and a moment of success to every single encounter. And if you are not using those in your game to really drive forward the narrative, I feel like you could be missing out on a lot of potential narrative storytelling. See, when a character rolls a natural 20, it means that they've overcome the odds.
Nat 20.
When they roll a natural 1, it means that the odds have been too far against them. And that is an important moment that could be easily misconstrued if you're not careful. As a dungeon master, when your character rolls a natural 20, please take the time to consider what that actually meant. Was this an impossible odd they overcame? Well, then it should be important to their story. Emphasize it. Make it clear that in this moment, they are a hero. They are the hero of the story because they were able to overcome the odd that nobody else should have been able to. This is a true moment of showing what makes them just some character to a true hero. And on the same end, a natural 1 shouldn't be used to punish the players, but instead to show them that sometimes the odds they have to overcome are far more unsurmountable than they might at first realized. Make it clear that their natural 1s are not because of their failure of skill, but instead because the world around them sometimes is unfair, and that is the challenge they're going to have to overcome. If a natural 1 is rolled on a saving throw, make it clear that they were really trying to fight against it, but the odds of them actually overcoming that were near impossible. This is an insurmountable, overly powerful character, but they were still overcome by something else. Everybody is susceptible to failure at one point or another. Truthfully, a natural 20 and a natural 1, or any critical success or any critical failure, is a moment to really underline something in the campaign. And it doesn't just have to be narratively important, sometimes it could be comedically, such as when I mentioned earlier about Ford. It could be really funny to have a natural 1 occur and just lean into the comedy of it. Truthfully, natural 1s, natural 20s, critical successes, and critical failures are the underlining point of anything could happen in a TTRPG. That's what makes them exciting. That's what makes them amazing. That's what's fun about them. It leaves even the dungeon master in the dark and shows the absolute hope and the imminent failure that are always there. That makes the game fun, fascinating, interesting to everybody, something that everybody wants to play. And really, truthfully, I think that is one of the most purest ways that a TTRPG could be played. And it's why when I was reading through the 1D&D rules when they were first released, I was upset that a lot of the natural 20s or crit mechanics were taken away from a lot of the monsters. Now, I understand why they did it, and I'm not really trying to go into a conversation on 1D&D right now. But I do think crits hold a very special place in my heart for that specific reason. Now, there's a lot to go into on where critical successes and failures should be played into. Should they only be applied to attack rolls? Should they only be applied to ability checks? And honestly, there is never going to be a right answer to that question, believe it or not. The answer will always be, what do you, as your table, think? Is it important for you to feel like it should play into the ability scores? And is it important to you that they should only apply to attack rolls? Then do so. It's what is important to your table, but I would never remove them, because they always show the highest highs and the lowest lows of any campaign, and without having them there, you could truly be missing out on something really special if you don't. Ultimately, I feel like we should lean into this RNG, because it's what makes tabletop games so unique from other storytelling methods. The randomness that none of us could predict, which leads to the most special moments. When we truly overcome the odds thanks to the dice and smart thinking, we know that we did so with fate on our side, for a lack of better terms. And it makes it so much more exciting than anything else. And I feel we should truly lean into that and enjoy the games at our table with our friends.